It is no secret that I love Pokemon. It has been a major franchise, a major fandom in my life for almost a good majority of my life. And this year, if you didn't know, the Pokemon franchise is turning 30. It started in 1996 with the releases of the video games, and I was there for the release of Pokemon Red and Blue and had them in the beginning. I'll call me old fashioned, but I am a Gen 1er. I have studied and grown up with the Gen 1 Pokemon. While I will admit that some of the designs are lacking, and there is some fantastic Pokemon in later generations. Gen 1 is where my heart was always been. If you guys have bothered to look on my channel every so often, you'll see that one of the very first videos that I created was a Pokemon quiz, in which I took this quiz and I had a set amount of time in which to name all the first generation of Pokemon. I'd like to retry this quiz again, and I wanted to release it on Pokemon Day for the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. I am only giving myself a 20-minute time limit, and I have to be able to name all the different 151 of the original Pokemon. Come along with me in this journey. You can find this on Pokemon PKMN quiz.com if you want to take the test yourself. They do have different things. For instance, I am going to be using the spelling help because I am pretty difficult with the spelling with some of the Pokemon. But I will not be using the shadows, and you can, if you choose, to do the different types of gens. But like I said, we're doing just the Kanto, the Generation 1. Timer is going to start when I start typing. Got 20 minutes. Starting off, happy anniversary, Pokemon. Going with the starters. There you go. What would you guys say is your favorite Gen 1 starter? Obviously the Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle in Professor Oak's lab, and I always went with Squirtle. Personal preference, growing up in the 90s when the game series was released, I was also big into ninjas and martial arts, and with shows like the Ninja Turtles, Dragon Ball Z, and Power Rangers, Turtles and the reptile motif was always so huge among all that, and for whatever the reason, Squirtle just stuck with me. He is always going to be my first choice in terms of running through the games and stuff, but personal preference, and I would love to know in the comments what your guys's are. Going to continue along. I know I wasted a couple of seconds for that, but you know, had to gush about the starters. Ash's first Pokemon he officially caught was Caterpie. Still remember the day watching it when it first premiered on television, and then eventually up to the Butterfree with Bye Bye Butterfree. Still makes me cry. It also reminds me how Ash had treated his Pidgeotto. I will always say that he always misunderused Pidgeotto. It could have been such a great Pokemon in the original series, but you know, hashtag justice for Pidgeotto. Sorry for skipping Spearow. I'm probably certainly going to be jumping around and not be able to go in order as much as possible, but trying to do this all from memory. I have no markers or side things telling me what the orders of anything is. Of course, the most singular, most popular Pokemon of all time. You don't even need to know Pokemon to know Pikachu. Sandshrew and Sandslash is another one that's always had a special place in my heart. Just something about it that I would have loved to have seen it be more popular. Just loves its design and the abilities of both Sandshrew and Sandslash. At this point, I think I'm going to have to jump around a little bit. I pretty much did the top row in almost order. Like I said, I'm sorry for skipping Spearow and Fearow, but at this point, I'm probably going to be jumping around a lot. I think we'll go by trainers, or as best as I can remember. Got 16 minutes left. Got still over 100 Pokemon to name, so let's go ahead and jump around. I think we'll start off with Team Rocket's iconic Pokemon. Okay, and then if we jumped over to our main character, Ash, he also had... He did have others that he eventually got. Good old Orange Islands. Okay. Let's see. I guess we can jump to gym leaders. There we go. And I think I'll go with his counterparts as well. Reason why I say counterparts is because all four of these Pokemon groupings are 3-stage evolutions, and if you want that last evolution, you had to trade with somebody at the time. I know they don't do that too often anymore because most people end up buying both generations of Pokemon, but you had to trade back and forth to get the 3rd stage. It always made me kind of unique to those and stuff like that. And then I'm going to jump back a little bit because Ghastly, Haunter, and Gengar, loved them in the 1st generation, and I'm probably going to now reveal... Sorry, spelling. Personal fan theory, how Clefable and Gengar are yin and yang. That Gengar is Clefable's shadow, and I've always thought that was so neat. And then the true counterpart to Clefable. Okay, and then I guess we can return back to Brock's Pokemon. I know it's Gen 2, Stantler, but did anybody else ever remember, or is this just a Mandela effect? Did Brock have a Stantler? I could have swore he caught one, but I don't ever remember an episode where he actually got one or used it beyond the baby Stantler. And of course, his Vulpix and Ninetales he has. And then I think we're going to jump around to their counterparts. Let me know as well, which one's better? Vulpix and Ninetales, Growlithe and Arcanine. Personal preference, I think Growlithe and Arcanine would have been more... It would have been cooler, I think, if they got more screen time, but I digress. 12 minutes left, so we're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. Okay, I know Ponyta, Rapidash goes along with those 3 different types of fire Pokemon. But I always connected it to the Dodrio combo because of that Pokemon episode where they did a race. And Ash had to ride the Rapidash. And now that I think about it, it's weird that there was 3 separate Pokemon that were literally made up of just multiple heads. The Diglett, Dugtrio, Magnemite, Magneton, Doduo, Dodrio. Just normal animal, multiple heads. Alright, I think we can start moving on to the next gym later now that I can think of. Sorry, mixed up Seaking and Seadro for a moment there. But obviously we're talking about Misty at this point. And then she had Spyduck. And then good old Togepi, but that's Gen 2. And then Psyduck's counterpart. And then its evolutions. I always thought that was neat, the symbiosis of Slowpoke, Slowbro, and Shellder, Cloyster. Alright, next up would be Surge. We've already listed Raichu, his signature Pokemon. And we have Magnemite, Magneton, but they also had... And then I think their counterparts. It all depends if you count them as the counterpart or not. Okay, moving right along, you had to go through the rock tunnel. You ended up in Fuchsia City, where the ghost tower was. Still such a sad story, with truly showing how evil Team Rocket can be. And then we went over to Erica. And then its counterpart. I know James had the Victory Bell, but forgot to list it earlier when we were doing Team Rocket, along with the Lickitung, which I'll try later because the spelling for that's going to be difficult. Okay, and then after that, you versed Sabrina. We already listed her Abracadabra, Alakazam, but there was another psychic type that was there. And then after you fight Sabrina, you looped around to Koga. He was a poison type, but I don't think he actually had an ace. Well, technically. I know in the games he used Venonat, Venomoth. And then in Gold he used Grimer and Muck, I believe. But I don't think he was actually ever given an ace Pokemon. And then while I'm at it, their counterparts, Parasect, Venonat, Venomoth. Okay, we're almost done the second line. It looks like we got a triple evolution over there. Oh! Water fighting type. It was unique for its time. Alright, moving right along then. Koga went to Blaine, and he had the Magmar in the anime, but I don't think he used it in the games. And then following that was Giovanni, who had ground type, if I'm not mistaken. He also had... I'm misremembering that he had Nidoking. And then, of course, he had the Mewtwo in the movies. Okay. So, it looks like we finished the first 2 lanes. Let's go ahead and do legendaries. Pseudo-legendary. And then legendary birds. Now, there's a large gap right there, and who am I forgetting? I know I'm probably going to be kicked in the comments. I got 6 minutes left, and I've waited so long to name their favorite Pokemon. Oh. Let's see. I guess we can go into solo evolution Pokemon now. Okay. I believe each typing at the time had 1 solo single evolution Pokemon. Okay. Oh. There we go. Alright, now there's a large gap over there at the bottom line. Fossils. The origin of the fossil Pokemon. Praise Helix. Okay. Let's see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Pokemon left that we're forgetting. We got under 5 minutes left. Who are we forgetting? 1, 2, 3 single stage, 4 single stage Pokemon, 2 double stage Pokemon. Let's see, going along the adventure. Trying to think. See, I got them. Got them. Got them. Ooh. Such a forgettable Pokemon. I nearly forgot it myself. Okay. Feel like we're missing probably like ground type Pokemon, aren't we? Alright, we got 4 minutes left. I gotta start thinking fairly hard. I think we will try. Oh, I actually got it spelling right on first try. Lickitung is such a weird name to spell for me for some reason. I can never seem to get it down right. And then I already named Ditto. I already named Porygon. Who am I forgetting? Ooh, Chansey. Kangaskhan. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4 Pokemon left. What are the last 4 Pokemon that I am trying to think of? Going along the adventure. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot a very important one. My first ever shiny Pokemon, the Red Gyarados in Gold. As soon as I can spell it. Gyarados. G. It's Gary 2. Alright, this one I may have to finally click. There we go. Gyarados. I know that probably feels like cheating, but I was never going to get the spelling down and correct. Alright, I got 2 Pokemon left. Who am I forgetting? If I went along the things, did all the gym leaders, is there somebody I'm forgetting in the Elite Four, maybe? Bruno was fighting type. Agatha was ghost type. Lance was the dragon. Who's the fourth? Lorelei. Ice. Ooh. Honestly, I always forget these things exist. I was able to do this in 18 minutes. I now challenge whoever's next. Go ahead and try to search this up. I just typed in Pokemon quiz, but it's the pkmnquiz.com. Once again, I do wish a very happy anniversary to Pokemon. I look forward to seeing what new releases they come out. I have not played Legend ZA yet, but I would like to, because personal preference, I love the themes of Mega Evolutions. But until then, I will see you all later. God bless, and happy Pokemon Day.